Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about a wear test and review for foundation from Makiage, a self-proclaimed extra beauty brand out of New York. But first, we are still in December. We've got 3 more days of our Look Fantastic Advent calendar to go through together. So when we left off, I think we were on day 17, so we've got 18, 19, and 20 to do today. 18. So this is Hydrating Primer from Sleek Makeup. I've purchased a few things from Sleek Makeup over the years. I do like them, so I'm not much of a primer person, but I'm wondering if primers have kind of gone the way of highlighters. I know I've shared it took me a long time to come back around to buying highlighters because I felt like so many were flooding the market and none of them were any good. And I felt the same way about primers as of a couple of years ago, so I wonder if maybe they've come a long way since the last time I tried one. So I will throw that in the makeup drawer to give it a go. Day 19, we are all the way up in this corner here. Volumizing Mascara Lash Brag from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I like trial size mascaras. I'm not going to open it yet because as soon as you do, you start letting that air in. But Anastasia, obviously known for their brows and eye makeup in particular. So small mascara, that'll be a good one to try. Right. Easy ones today, not ones that I have to figure out what they are. This is kind of fun. Day 20. There we are. This is by Mio Clay Away Body Cleanser, a 2-in-1 wash and mask. Apply this versatile wash to wet skin all over your body and thoroughly rinse off. For a more intense treatment, apply to dry skin and leave on for 2 minutes before rinsing off. If irritation occurs, stop using immediately. It's specifically not for facial use. So that's kind of cool. I feel like we neglect the skin on our bodies so much, even though we devote so much time and attention to the skincare for our faces. So to see something that is specifically designed to up the ante for your skincare for your body, I guess that's really nice. So again, this is by Mio. This is called the Clay Away Body Cleanser. I'll link all 3 of these products down below. If you haven't checked out Look Fantastic yet, yes, they are where I get my beauty advent calendars from, but they're kind of, to me, the unsung hero of the beauty online shopping. It really is a one-stop shop for beauty, skincare, hair products, bath products. Think like Sephora, like Ulta, but with some of the same but also different brands that you can't get at those stores that we're also used to. So lookfantastic.com. I will link these products for you guys in the description box below. Now, let's get on to what has probably been the strangest wear test and review that I have done in quite some time. This foundation is by the company Makiage, as I said. This is called their Next Generation Full Coverage Foundation. So a couple of things to note about this. First of all, as I mentioned, the company is a self-proclaimed, self-acknowledged extra designed for maximalists. If you watch my channel, you know that I tend to not be a maximalist when it comes to makeup. I tend to be a bit of a skinimalist, particularly when it comes to foundation and my skin coverage. But I decided to try something a little bit different and give this company a go, and part of the reason for that is their amazing trial policy. Once you get the product in hand and they send you the full-size product just for the price of shipping, you have 14 days to try it in your home and make sure that you like it, or you can send it back. They don't even charge you for the full-size product until you decide that you're going to keep it. They offer shade matching on their website, so you try to get the color that's closest to your skin tone, but another great reason to have that return policy. If the shade is wrong but you like the product, you can just send it back for an exchange within that 14-day window. So this is absolutely a full coverage foundation. Part of the reason I generally shy away from full coverage foundations is that they are very thick. You end up with cake face. They sit very heavily on the skin, and because they are so heavy, I find that my skin is more prone to breakouts and flare-ups in my rosacea when I wear them. So what I want to do is take you guys through the wear test, which was pre-filmed with timestamps as usual, and I'll kind of talk you through some of the utterly bizarre experience that I had with this foundation, and then we will wrap up with my final thoughts about it, which might surprise you because they honestly surprised even me. So let's jump right into this here. First, as always, I'm going to let you know what I have on my skin to start with. No surprise here, I've got my Paula's Choice Daily Tinted Sunscreen and the By Terry Cellular Rose Serum. mixed together, put on my skin. I've also filled in my eyebrows with my Winky Lux Unibrow pen that I have been using for the past several months. First of all, as you just saw me showing you here, the packaging is extra, but I really liked it. What a beautiful presentation for foundation. This foundation bottle also comes with a really handy pump top, which I found really convenient, and it recommends starting with one pump, which is about what I typically use, and it specifically says to go in with a brush or a sponge, not your fingers. So first I tested out the texture like always. It's not running down the back of my hand, and you can notice I'm even seeing if I can get it to drip or move, and it didn't. So it's a thick foundation, but as I start putting it on here, I was surprised by two things right off the bat. First of all, the amount of coverage that I was getting for the quantity that I used. You can see me just spreading this across my forehead, again using a bit of a heavier application technique than I typically would because this is full coverage foundation. And I wanted to kind of honor what the foundation is designed to do instead of shoehorning it into what I would typically do. So you can see the crazy amount of coverage that I'm getting for the quantity that I'm using. And the other thing that I noticed is that for such a full coverage foundation, like look at this, it's ridiculous. For such a full coverage foundation, very lightweight. I did not feel like I was putting actual wall paint on my face to achieve this level of coverage. Now, in all honesty, I'm looking at myself in the mirror in the viewfinder at about this point, and I'm ready to run to the washroom, take it all off, and scrap the whole thing for a couple reasons. First of all, this level of coverage I think looks a little bit ridiculous on me. I just feel like that completely flattened face, there's no skin texture here showing through, there's nothing about this that looks natural or like real skin. And additionally, I'm noticing that the shade match was a little bit off. I'm kind of gonna go ahead and let that one slide because I was filmed 2 days after I'd applied Sunless Tanner, so I still had a nice tan glow going on. I think maybe this shade would be perfect for me when I'm like fully pale. So I decided to press on, and again, you can see the crazy full coverage here, and I think I show you the back of my hand here at one point. There we go. And I didn't repump, I didn't have to add any extra, and crazy full coverage all across my face using the same amount of product that I use when I just do my touch-ups to cover the redness and the thin skin that you see me do in a typical foundation wear test. After all the makeup is on, it says to wait 5 minutes and let it sit before you judge the color or judge the wear of it. So I let 5 minutes pass. I still noticed that the color was a little bit off against my tan, but not quite as bad as it was when it first went on. And then I zeroed in on these areas, those most elastic parts of your face around the mouth where you're moving, you're talking, you're smiling, and noticed immediately what I don't like about full coverage foundations, the fact that it kind of sets in those areas, really draws a lot of attention to those areas, and it's kind of where you anticipate you're going to end up with that sort of cake face appearance throughout the day. But we're still pressing on, so I'm going to go in with my YSL concealer. I set my face using my Chaté London translucent powder very lightly. I really didn't want to give that foundation a lot of powder to kind of like be sucked up by and leave even worse cake face on. And I'm going to go in with just bronzer. This is the Inglot bronzer that I used in my full face of Inglot Cosmetics for you guys a couple of days ago. And I'm going to finish the look just with some eye makeup, going for a little bit more of a natural look with the eyes than with the foundation. I end up using my Jones Road trio of eye products. It's just an eyeshadow, a cushion eyeshadow, and some eyeliner. So this is what the full look is, and this is where it starts to get kind of weird. There's your timestamp for 11:43. I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm thinking, you know, this actually looks really good. The color actually kind of evened out, especially once I warmed it up with the bronzer. I'm going to take you guys over to the natural sunlight and show it to you guys what it looks like in the natural light. Maybe a little bit washed out. You can see that color match being a bit weird again. But I'm thinking it looks really good. It doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look really thick. It actually looks kind of natural. So I popped back over to my vanity and gave you guys a close-up so you could see those areas that were really bothering me where it looked too thick. It looked caked on, even though you saw me applying it, and it really wasn't. This was only one pump across my entire face. So I decided to see what was going to happen throughout the day. Next check-in point is 2:06. Here, I'm always checking a couple of things. My oiliness, and in this particular case, how the foundation is sitting around those elastic areas on my face. The good news is I didn't really notice too much change, and the oil production was actually pretty minimal. At this point when I blot, I usually get a pretty full oil sheet, and you'll see here in a moment, very little oil actually came off of my face. So I think when you do have the full coverage, sort of thicker foundations, you are gonna end up with better oil control than you do when you go for a more skinimalist look. So you can see there, very little oil, still not completely happy with how it was sort of caking up around my lips. A little over 3 hours later, so we're at about 6 hours of wear here, I really felt like it was sinking into all of my pores, drawing a lot of attention there in that curve around the nostril and my smile lines, and this is just the thing that drives me bonkers about full coverage foundation. The thing that is annoying about it though is when I back up from the viewfinder, from the mirror, all day long, I'm passing myself in the mirror, I'm on my cell phone taking selfies, sharing things on Instagram stories, and I'm not noticing that cakiness. It's just when I sit down about a foot, 2 feet away from a mirror, about the distance you would be from a person you're having coffee with or having dinner with, I could see it, and all my eyes were going to was the makeup and how it had settled into my pores. And of course, at this point, 6 hours in, for my oily skin, I had a much more robust oil blot. So at 8:30, after 9 hours of wear, notice from a distance, it still looks great. The coverage has held up. The oil control kind of just is what it is for my skin, but that's going to be different for everybody. But again, once you get close up, see the cakiness there around my nostril and in the lines around my mouth, and things starting to cling a little bit on the chin, and that redness coming through on the chin a little bit. And again, that whole area around where you smile and you have those pores on your cheeks, I just felt like it was, here are my pores, I'm sunk into everything. I could literally leave a fingerprint on my own face. But again, step it back a couple of feet and it looks really, really nice. Given all of that, I went back and forth on how I felt about this foundation all day. When I was viewing myself on my Instagram stories and I was thinking, wow, like, you know, on camera this looks really nice, or even passing myself in a mirror throughout the day or on FaceTime with family members, it looked really nice. But when I actually was stopping to look at it in a mirror from close up, I didn't think it looked nice at all. So my ultimate conclusion about this foundation, if you're going to wear it full coverage, and again, that was just the one pump, so I was madly impressed about that. I think that this foundation falls in that category of what I would call event makeup. Or do you remember the term HFFA, hot from far away? If you're going to be doing something where you're going to an event, maybe you're speaking on stage, maybe you are doing a lot of Zoom calls, but you're not going to be seeing people in person so much. Think like newscasters and news anchors. If you ever see them in person, their makeup in person looks overdone, but on camera it looks stunning and airbrushed and beautiful. I think that is what I would use this foundation for. Given that so many of us are working from home now, and FaceTime calls and Zoom meetings and all of that are kind of the new normal, I think this is a great foundation for that sort of thing. But when I am sitting next to somebody or across from somebody, or I'm going on a date, or I'm having dinner or having coffee, or even just getting together to chat, I don't ever want people to be looking at my makeup. I want them to see me. And that is my personal opinion. That's my personal approach to how I wear makeup. And the fact that every time I looked closely at this makeup, it looked caked on and was sinking into my pores, it just reminded me of the stage makeup I used to wear when I did a lot of theater. With all of that said, and understanding what this product is, it is a full coverage, maximalist, extra to the nines foundation. It is fantastic for that, for a couple of reasons. First, the minimal amount of product that I had to use to achieve that complete full coverage. Second, the oil control. I have really oily skin, and the fact that it took 6 hours for me to really have a solid oil blot, that was pretty impressive. 6 hours is a lot, and when you're wearing a full coverage foundation, you need that. Otherwise, it's going to start shifting around. Your oils are going to be seeping through and making it look kind of grimy. Number 3, again, going back to the fact that it was really lightweight. For a foundation that is that full coverage, I expected it to be a bit greasy, or potentially going the other way, a bit drying. There's kind of this spectrum of it either is gloppy and gloopy once it mixes with the oils on your skin, or it's too drying and you end up almost like a face mask and it kind of cracks and crinkles. This didn't do either of those things. So the fact that it left me feeling a little bit cake face around the most elastic parts of my face, that's still probably the best performance I've seen from a foundation with this level of coverage that I've ever tried. Regarding the color, if you choose to give these guys a try, remember they have their 14-day exchange policy, so if your color is slightly off like mine was, you can always exchange it. If you err on the side of being a bit too light, as you saw with me, you can kind of correct that by adding a little bit of bronzer and darkening up some of the other makeup, whereas if you err with it being too dark, there's really no way to pull that back and hide it. So if you're gonna do one or the other, I would say err going a shade lighter. So my final thoughts on this foundation are that for what it is, it delivers. It does what it claims to do. It is what it says it is. There is no hiding the ball here. If this is something that appeals to you, if this is your style, or if you have a good use for it, I highly recommend it. It's only $44 US, which is a really good price for how well it performs in that full coverage foundation category. But I was impressed by the overall presentation, by the absolutely unapologetic way that they just own what they are and that this is what they like and this is what they put themselves out as. And I think it's a really nice thing to see from a cosmetics company where it tells you this is what we are, and that is what they are. There is no hiding the ball. Like I said, you're gonna get what you're buying. It is going to deliver on its promises. So that is where I'm gonna wrap up this review. I hope you guys find it helpful. I will link this in the description box below. If you give it a try, or if you have tried it, let me know what you think about it in the comments. This has been probably one of the strangest foundation reviews that I've ever done, just because it kind of kept messing me up. I didn't like it, and then I did like it, and then I didn't like it again, and then I did like it again. So very interesting, kind of fun to shake things up a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I appreciate your viewership, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.